Hello, everyone. I would like to talk to you about the energy patterns of October the 13th. Let me share. I actually prepared two pictures, two drawings for you. The first one only indicates the celestial objects that are normally on a karmic astrological chart. And then I'm going to show you some other celestial objects that are also in tight conjunction with these archetypes. So let's take a look. This is for October the 13th, around 11 o'clock London time, 12 o'clock Budapest time. At the moment, I am in Budapest, and most of my charts are prepared for the Budapest time zone. So it's the Central European time zone. But you can adjust it and play with it. The configurations will be within orb, except for the ones that the one that I'm going to explain to you at the moment. As you can see, Mercury retrograde in Libra will be on the midheaven. This is 11 o'clock London time, which is, I think, 10 o'clock universal time. So you can start playing with it. And the reason I put this right up here, because there's a yod, actually almost a boomerang, involving Mercury retrograde opposite Chiron Lilith in Aries and Pallas Athena and Uranus. The problem with it is that if I don't put Mercury on the midheaven and Chiron Lilith on each side of the IC, I won't get the semi-sextiles and I won't have the boomerang itself. And actually, it's a weird boomerang because the Pallas Athena Uranus sextile is not exactly closing. I only allow a 2-degree orb for the configurations. So the reason I put this up here is to get the semi-sextiles. If you take a look, the retrograde planets are in magenta and the direct planets or celestial objects are in black. And as you can see, it's really weird because only Vesta and Black Moon Lilith are direct. The rest are retrograde. What does it mean? Mercury retrograde is something that astrologers very often harp about, and you know, they say that all kinds of misinterpretations, misconceptions, people are losing stuff, missives and messages are lost. There could be some really bad traffic jams and so on. But in effect, what I came to realize is that 60% of the people are not really affected by retrograde Mercury. If I look back out of the last 35 years, this is how long I've been an astrologer, there may have been like 4 or 5 occasions where I really may have been affected by Mercury retrograde. But it's not so. If you are not, be happy because you are in good company. Anyhow, so all the rest of the planets are retrograde, which indicates that you have a chance to look inward, to get inner insight, things that are usually deep down in your psyche, somewhere in your subconscious, or hidden in your own underworld. Let's put it this way, psychic underworld, and you are able to uncover it because Mercury retrograde is also helping us, because we can look inward and you can find the answers inside. Let's take apart this configuration. As I said, we have two fingers of fate, and the one that I already mentioned is really unique because it's a finger of fate, but it is not really a boomerang because the inside sextile is not within orb. Pallas Athena is at 11 degrees and Uranus is almost at 14 degrees. So it's more than 3 degrees. It's a 3-degree orb and it's just, the sextile is not happening. but with the MCIC angle, the semisextiles are there. What does it mean? Mercury, Pallas Athena are about general communication, Mercury, and deep wisdom, Pallas Athena. The other side of the finger of fate is even more interesting because Mercury and Uranus are in very tight relationship, as Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury. And the Chiron Lilith conjunction is interesting because, first of all, Chiron in Aries is about karmic wounds related to wars, aggression, fire, blood, violence, all kinds of wounds that are triggered by such deeds or such occurrences. And the asteroid Lilith is the first turning point of the Lilith myths, when Lilith says, I don't want to be below you. So I want, I want equality, practically, Yahweh created bird. I understand that I can't be the creator goddess at the moment, because this is a patriarchal world, but I still want equality. I am going to prepare a video on the Liliths because they are greatly misconcepted in many ways. So it's coming, it's in the making, it's in preparation, let's put it this way. So Chiron Lilith conjunction usually indicates that karmic wounds are also related to revolt against injustice. And if you look around in the world, those people who are revolting against injustice are invariably ending up dead. So, of course, you are accumulating a lot of karmic wounds when you are revolting, especially nowadays. I mean, with cancel culture and what happened to debate? What happened to normal debate? When I sit down, I listen to you, and I may not agree, but I am courteous and polite enough to allow you to express your ideas. So what happened to this? I don't know. It seems to be disappearing really rapidly, and the tech giants are actually helping this. So what you have here, what is the other yod, the other finger of fate, it was Vesta, the focusing principle, the high priestess as the archetype. And one of the quincunxes is the Chiron Lilith, IC. IC is only there when you take a look at any moment in time where Mercury is on the midheaven. So it could be anywhere from noon Budapest to 11 o'clock London to, I don't know, 2 in the morning, I don't know where, Pacific probably. I'm not very good at time zones, but I'm sure you can work it out, especially when you are American, because then you know how to do it, because your whole country is full of time zones. Anyhow, so this is one of the yods. The other one of the yods is concentrating on the Lilith Ceres conjunction. I left Lilith here. This is the Black Moon Lilith, which is already going out of the orbit because it's only at 9 degrees, and Lilith, Ceres is at 12 degrees. But I left it there because it will trigger the space-time moment. We will have this brave stamina that when Lilith goes back to the Garden of Eden, because she has a task to enlighten the second wife Eve. And we also have this is also not a boomerang, because Vesta Uranus is the opposition is there, but Uranus Ceres is not closing with the semisextile. What is Vesta Uranus? Vesta Uranus is usually an aspect where you can get out of debilitating oaths and promises. Saturn Vesta is the promise aspect, and Uranus Vesta is when you want to get out of it. And the Vesta Uranus opposition is about focusing on change. Okay, but this change is a reflective change because Uranus is going backwards. So that's the second yod. And then you also have here a very narrow and interesting trapeze. The base is a square between Pallas Athena and Ceres, which is interesting because Ceres, the nurturing principle, is in an air sign, and Pallas Athena, the archetype of wisdom, is in a water sign. So they are kind of in each other's element, so to speak, and they are in a square situation, which means that they are clashing. And of course, the original clash is whether I should be a single person devoted to wisdom or devoted to whatever I want to be doing with myself, or shall I give it up and shall I nurture my family or just my partner or whatever. So that's the base. The two sides are two trines. One trine is Mercury Ceres. So this is like intelligent nurturing because it's in an air sign. And the other trine is a water trine between Vesta and Pallas Athena, focusing on wisdom. And then the top of the trapeze is really narrow. It's Mercury Vesta. And so you can actually get to the stage and you can deliver what you would like to the outside world by focusing on your true knowledge and your true, also your true wisdom. So let's put it this way. And the inner aspects are two quincunxes, which makes the inside world of this trapeze quite karmic. We also have two engines within the trapeze with the same participants. We have a mutable water engine, and we also have a mutable air engine. But I'm not going to tell you all the participants because they're practically the same as you saw it already in the trapeze. Now let's take a look at the other transcendental celestial objects that are accompanying this configuration. Here I moved about 5 to 10 minutes past 12 noon in Budapest because I just wanted to concentrate on the placements which are really in tight configuration. So it's like 11, 12 degrees. And I added the transcendental objects. I color-coded them. The fixed stars are in red and the rest, I mean, the asteroids and the centaur and one centaur, Okiro, are in black. And I used 1 degree orb for each of them. And let's take a look how they open up the space-time moment, how they add very valuable information to the already complex planetary picture which we are going to have on the 13th. Mercury is conjunct Narcissus. Narcissus in karmic astrology is linked to the notion of self-love. But as you know, if you can look up the myth, Narcissus falls in love with his own image. He's looking into the brook and seeing his own image, and he falls in love and he dies because he's unable to leave his image. And Narcissus is signifying a type of love where you fall in love with yourself, really your own reflection. Usually when you fall in love, it's with someone who is totally different from you or very similar to you. And Narcissus is a love affair that you are falling in love with your own image in the other. Hephaestus is the lame god in the Mount Olympus. He's not actually staying there because he doesn't want to be with the other gods. He has a he's a goldsmith. He's a smith, and he is lame. He is unable to walk properly, but what he creates with his two hands is always perfect and beautiful. And Hephaestus signifies an archetype, or signifies usually something that is not perfect. And whenever you have Hephaestus in close conjunction to something important in your chart, you are very much aware of your shortcomings. Here it's conjunct Ceres, which is the nurturing principle. So it might be an enlightened moment when you realize that, yes, there are some shortcomings in my nurturing principles, but I can better it. I can make it better. I can make it perfect if I pay attention, especially what I use when I use my two hands. So this means that I try to make a perfect birthday cake or a perfect meal, although I know I'm not perfect. Uranus is conjunct or aligned actually with two fixed stars. Almach is one of the stars of the of Virgo, and it is linked to virginity. And it's a very interesting word because Almach in Hebrew means the virgin, but it actually signifies a young woman who is not yet linked to, not yet linked to another, someone by marriage or a marriage contract. So it's a, I don't know what the word in English is. We have a word for this in Hungarian. It's someone who is not really single. There's another word for that, whatever. Anyhow, it means that I'm not yet committed, but I am a very fruitful feminine archetype that I have many potentials. So that's the meaning of the star. And then Menkar is Alpha Cetus, the celestial veil, which is in a liminal space. If you know the work of Bernadette Brady, she wrote an article a couple of years ago, I believe it was in 2005, when she wrote about liminal spaces. When you look at the zodiac, the zodiacal constellations are not closing completely. So one star belongs to one constellation and the other star belongs to the other constellation. And it means that there are gaps, spaces between them. And in this case, a third constellation below them can occupy that liminal space. What does liminal space mean? It means a threshold space. It means that when you cross the threshold, you get into another environment, a totally different frame of mind or a different space. Okay, so you leave behind something and you are entering something else, something very different. So Menkar signifies the territory of the unconscious. Okay, it's the stair of the veil coming from the underworld, so to speak, and it usually denotes abilities where you can utilize your insight or your psychico-spiritual developments or your abilities, actually, your psychic abilities in anywhere it falls. Chiron doesn't have any transcendental celestial objects at the moment. Pallas Athena is conjunct Gawain and Okiro. Gawain, as I'm sure if you speak English, you know that it's one of the knights, the Arthurian knights, and it is linked to chivalry. And Okiro is the daughter of Chiron and Chariklo, and she is inheriting both parents' unique abilities. And she becomes an oracle, but she's constantly being punished by the fates because she's blurting out stuff that she's not supposed to. And she gets so fed up with this constant punishment that she finally decides to make herself back into a horse. So she loses her unique abilities and also her ability to speak. She becomes a horse. And she turns around, away from her parents and everyone else and goes to the wilderness and lives there. And Okiro, as a karmic wound, signifies incarnations where you had your special unique abilities, but you couldn't actually show them to the outside world because you were being punished, constantly punished by them. So you decided to hide them. And with Pallas Athena, interestingly enough, it means that wisdom may have to be kind of shielded. And if you look around nowadays, and that's why I asked, what happened to normal, usual, regular debate? What happened to the notion of debate? It seems to be disappearing. The Okiro-Pallas Athena conjunction exactly describes this moment in time when we need to hide our true abilities and capacities. Otherwise, we are going to be punished by the outside world. And then Vesta has 3 celestial objects, unique transcendental celestial objects. Acrux is a fixed star. Sisyphus and Terpsichore are asteroids. Sisyphus is the ability to carry big weights, to do big major tasks, even when everyone thinks that you're going to be a failure. So to put energy and effort into a task or a chore or something major, so it could be something very small and really large, when it happens against all odds and you are still being able to do it, or it may be futile. And then Terpsichore is one of the muses. It's the muse of dance. And it is linked to higher consciousness, higher dimensional energies, and also altered states of consciousness. If you come to think of it, music and dance are brilliant vehicles of higher dimensional experiences here on Earth. I have not met anyone who doesn't like to dance or watch people dance, or watch dancing as such. So those who are dancing or watching people dance are always smiling. I invariably see people in a very good mood, in a heightened mood when they dance. Or if you have shortcomings or don't like to, or you're not a very big exhibitionist, so you don't want to show off, well, even then I'm sure you enjoy watching people dance, be it hip hop or ballet or jazz or whatever. I'm sure you like it. And Ocrux is a star that you can only see from the southern hemisphere. It is the alpha star of the Southern Cross. And it's one of the brightest stars of the, as actually within those 20 odd stars that are around 1.5 magnitude. And so really the brighter of the brightest, or the brightest of the brightest. How should I express myself? Anyhow, Ocrux signifies the ability to accept physical incarnation, the ability to enter into physical incarnation, to accept its burdens, but also to hope for its joys. It's a very beautiful star. Unfortunately, we can only see it when we go to New Zealand or South Africa or South America or Australia, some places there. You will see them. This is the energy pattern for the 13th. As you can see, I hope I could demonstrate how these lesser celestial objects are opening up the space-time and are giving valuable information about how we can utilize the energy patterns at our disposal. And if you have placements at 11, 12, 13 degrees of the important stuff in your charts, then you can actually really bring it down to personal levels. I wish you good luck with it. Bye.